What up? It is EJ. Welcome to another episode of Next Up, and I am here with the amazing and talented Liz. How you doing?
Good.
You know what's funny? I saw that you got the Timbs on, and I'm from the East Coast, and I was like, look at you representing, but you're actually from here.
Yeah, I'm a Valley girl from LA.
Really?
Yeah, but you know, in all fairness, I wore Timbs when I was really little. So
Really?
I've been rocking them since I was like 10.
Okay, because you know how so many people are trying to bite our style and whatnot, but no, you've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
Fondest memory about growing up in California?
Oh my gosh. Well, listening to Kiss FM on the radio in the car. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just we're blessed with such amazing weather,
Right.
and
Like I just moved here a couple of weeks ago, and it's nothing that I've ever seen before. I feel like everybody's super beautiful. The weather is amazing. I feel like everybody, like no one ever dresses up, so that's something I can get behind. You know, yoga pants and oversized hoodies for everybody, and I like that.
We are known for our athleisure.
Yeah, that's pretty legit. Mm-hmm. I love that.
I don't even wear like any tight clothes anymore.
Really?
Everything's oversized.
I don't wear underwear anymore.
People that don't.
So at what point did you know that you wanted to do this, that you wanted to perform, that you wanted to sing?
I think I was like 12 or 13, and I auditioned for this girl group.
Really?
Which is, I mean, you know, you get those kind of opportunities growing up in LA.
Right.
I found out about it through my vocal coach, and so I went and sang for this producer, and I was like really little and kind of scrawny. I was a ballerina, and they were trying to like basically cast like the last two girls of this group.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just not right for it because they were all like, you know, they had belly button rings and hips and little, you know.
Right,
they were like curvy.
They were like really adult.
Yeah, for 13-year-olds, yeah. And so then I just started working with him as a solo artist, you know, just
Doing
you know, he started developing me, and that's when I first started working with songwriters, and it just kind of, you know, went from there. And all through my teens, I worked with different songwriters and producers. I was like so lucky to have worked with like people that had hits on the radio, and worked with artists that I really looked up to.
Right.
And yeah, I played like a bunch of acoustic coffee house shows when I was a teen.
Do you like doing stuff like that? Like it would drive me insane. Like being in a room like this, and you can see every single person, and you can see them peering into your soul and whatnot as you're performing. Like, do you like doing stuff like that?
Yeah, actually, I mean, because I did it so many times. I mean, you always get nervous, of course, because like, oh, is my voice gonna, you know, be on point today? Or if you're like sick, it's like you're exposed. It's literally just you, and you know, I was playing piano. I was like singing and playing piano, and I had a guitarist. But I don't know, I like it. I mean, I love like doing club shows too, because a lot of my music is really about the production and like who I collaborate with, and you know, the sonic aesthetic. It's like a really big part of who I am as an artist. But it is fun to do stripped down, you know, things too. So this is the first time I've done like stripped down version of any of my new songs.
Well, I thought it sounded amazing. It sounds good. I think it sounds different than, you know, your previous stuff from like 14. Is that done on purpose?
Well, I mean, you could really strip down any song and like make it acoustic. Certain songs you can't. I mean, certain songs are like so about the production and like especially dance tracks.
Right. If I rule the world, like, could you strip that down?
Like When I Rule the World is, that would be really hard because it's, you know, and it's also a lot of like talk rapping and it would just become awkward.
I feel like you could pull it off, you know.
Yeah, I could.
I feel like you can knock that out. You can do that.
Yeah.
You know, the fans are like going insane, wondering like where's that album from like 2014? Like,
oh no.
Like, is that ever going to be released? Are you ever going to put that out or anything like that?
Well, so I mean, I put out an EP. It was like a 7-song EP in 2014. I was really proud of, called Just Like You.
Right.
And it's on SoundCloud. It's not commercially released, so it's like not on Spotify or Apple Music or anything. I'm trying to get it on there, but and then after that I did some songs in some movies. Like I did this thing with Pharrell for Spider-Man and this other thing for 22 Jump Street, and then I released I self-released. Well, after When I Rule the World, I self-released a mixtape, which is also on SoundCloud, called Cross Your Heart, and that was like a bunch of unreleased stuff that I was sitting on and I wanted to get out. And I was kind of going through a weird thing with, you know, my label at the time, and
see, people don't understand that. Like when people get on Twitter and they ask these questions and things like that, they don't understand that it's not necessarily just you. It's like you and management and labels and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that you had an opportunity to.
I know. I did everything I could. You know, when you get signed to, I mean, at first I was on Mad Decent and it was cool. I could put out stuff instantaneously. But that was a different time. It was like a lot of free releases. So you could just upload it to SoundCloud, you know, the night after you made it and then get a premiere for it online. And, you know, it's not really that kind of world anymore. And so when I signed to a major after that, I got kind of stuck in this cycle of like, okay, well, you know, the single we go with, like, we're going to put everything behind it. And like, so it better be the right one. And then it's like, if that, you know, doesn't pop off the way they want it, then you just kind of left behind. And
does that happen though? Like if it's not, or if it doesn't necessarily perform like the way how they would want it to perform, do they just like, all right, well, we're moving on to something else. We're moving on to something different.
In my instance, like When I Rule the World was like did really well culturally and like on the blogs, and I got a bunch of new fans from it. And you know, it's kind of like a little cult favorite song. You know, I did it with Sophie, and Sophie's so cool and iconic. And but I think it was a mixture of things. You know, the people that signed me, they left. They went to a totally different label. I don't know. I just wasn't happy anymore. So now I'm independent and just gonna put out stuff consistently this year and try to make it up. And
it's like you can do things on your own term when you're independent, which is amazing.
Yeah. And I'm working with all the same people that I was working with, you know, when I was signed. I feel like I have more opportunities now because people are just down to support independent artists and like people they believe in. And sometimes it's just easier because you don't have to deal with all the like politics. And
I was just about to ask that. Like you don't have to go into a boardroom and play like all of these songs and don't want that, don't want this, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
go back in the studio.
I'm just gonna put out a bunch of stuff this year and, you know, just see what people respond to. And I'm working on visuals I'm really proud of.
What's that? Like just videos and stuff like that? That's pretty legit.
Yeah. I shot a couple of videos in New York like a month ago, and so those are gonna come out soon, and they're totally wacky. Probably like if I was on a major label, they wouldn't let me put them out. I don't know.
But that's the beauty of doing your own thing, though. You can do what you want, and I feel like people will come to that. And I feel like this is like the movement for that, where people you know flock to not the establishment, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of artists are doing well. Like, you know, people like Lauv and Kim Petras. Like, you know, you don't need a major label necessarily to get to where you want to be. It's really about the music and the connection with your listeners and fans, and if you're doing something cool, and if you know, if you're doing something inspiring and it inspires you, you're most likely you're going to inspire a group of people as well. And you just got to find your core fan base instead of like trying to change yourself to be what you think people want you to be.
Right.
So, yeah, you know, it's like I try not to put too many expectations on everything. I'm just like doing what I've always been doing, and sometimes all you need is that one song to like make, you know.
I think people don't understand getting in where they're where they're fitting in. You know what I mean? Get in where you fit in. Like do what's good for you. Don't be all things, because I feel like that's where you can get lost in what you're doing.
I've had that problem in the past because I like so many things, and I feel like there's so many different sides of me as an artist, and you know, but I think over the past year I've really just learned to trust my gut and my own instincts, and you know, this is the first time where I don't really have that many people to like tell me yes or no. I just kind of I have my like.
What was the turning point though?
What
was the turning point for you? Were like, I gotta trust my gut. I gotta go with this.
I mean, when you're forced into that position, you just have to.
You have to do your thing.
Yeah, it was really like last year where I was like, okay, I had to start from scratch basically. I mean, not really, but in like a sense of like team around me, I had to, like I didn't have management anymore. I didn't have a label anymore. I just had to trust my gut and sometimes I had to feed off of the energy of like my collaborators, and because you can get down, you can think like, oh, like
Absolutely.
I'm doing all this stuff, and like, is any of it actually like good? Like, do I just suck?
Are
Like,
people like responding to it? Like, is it a thing?
Yeah,
Like, do they like
totally.
me? Because this is a business where it's all like me. And once you get the inkling that someone doesn't like you, it can bring your, just your mood and your everything around you down.
Yeah, but honestly, like when I get that inspiration from my like co-writers and collaborators, I remember, oh right, yeah, no, this is cool. Like I need to believe in myself. Like what am I doing?
Right.
And then also when I got like messages on Instagram or Twitter from, I hate saying fans because
friends, people that love your music, right?
When people reach out to me, it means so much, and they say like, oh my God, your mixtape got me through a really tough time in my life. And like people from all over the world, like I was in Japan doing a show in Tokyo, and there were people in the front row, like, and they knew the words to my, songs from my mixtape that I thought, oh, maybe no one heard it,
Right. Does that ever take you back when people are like, oh, you got me through this situation? Because I don't necessarily know, but are you writing the songs for that situation to get people through things?
I mean, I just write them, I write things that I'm going through or,
right.
Whether it's like sad or happy stuff.
Right.
I just try to have fun and be like genuine. So I don't put that pressure on myself of like, oh, I need to write a song like this for these people, but that just kind of happens naturally. Because like I said, like if you are inspired by something or if a song that you wrote like makes you feel a certain way, it's probably gonna make someone else feel a certain way.
Right.
So.
It's the whole point of being like relatable and stuff like that. So good.
Yeah.
So what's next for Liz?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna do a bunch of double singles this year with visuals and different editorial shoots because I like to mix fashion with my music and collaborate with different like designers or photographers, visual artists. And I have some collaborations too with like other artists and
Can
producers.
You tell her now?
I mean, yeah, I'm working on stuff with just like features. Like I just put out something with Jen Johns. I'm working with Grand Theft, Kim Petras. So some of it's like in the EDM world, some of it's in the pop world.
Right.
So many people.
You're gonna do your thing for 2018.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what actually comes out when it comes to like those collaborations because I can't control that.
Right.
But I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm really, I'm busy and working my butt off.
I'm super excited for you. I can't wait to see what's next. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah.
Liz, everybody.